Hello, I'm Dana Cowley, and welcome to Charter Local Edition Northwest. Today we're at the Port of Walla Walla, and my guest today is Maureen Walsh. Thank you so much for joining us.
So nice to be here. Thanks, Dana.
You are excited about moving into the Senate and what that holds for you coming up for the new session.
I am very excited to be moving into the Senate. It's a different entity than the House. I've been in the House for 12 years and actually 24 years working on staff 12 years before that. So going into a new world is going to be exciting and different, and I'm hopeful I can keep doing work on the issues that are really near and dear to me, and expect that that will be the case. And so yeah, that's going to be exciting.
Well, you touched on something that everyone might not realize. Many people think if you're serving in the state legislature, either on the House of Representatives or in the Senate, it's all just the same thing, and you have enough reality to know it's very different. So maybe you could explain to us a little bit about what it's been like working as a representative, and then how you think that will be different moving into the Senate.
Well, I guess the most obvious difference is there's half the players in the Senate. You have 49 senators and 98 House of Representative members. And so just that in itself makes it a different dynamic. You're not kind of working in conjunction or alongside a seatmate like you would in the House in the Senate. And also the volume of bills that comes from 98 members introducing legislation versus 49 in the Senate. The reality is it's a great way to have a checks and balance with all the legislation that gets introduced, which is thousands of bills a year. So having that kind of checks and balance with lesser people in the Senate kind of makes us prioritize and weed out and whittle out, if you will, some of the more frivolous legislation, which, you know, everyone's legislation is fabulous, but there is some things that we have to prioritize in the legislature, obviously, or we'd never get out of there.
How are you feeling about being the new person?
Oh, in the Senate?
Yes.
Well, I've been there for 24 years in the legislature, so I don't think anyone will really view me as being new in the Senate, which is nice. I mean, having that tenure is a great thing, and it gives me some flexibility and maybe even some ability to make sure that I land on the committees that I like to work on and that I have some expertise in. So I think I will fare well. I know all those senators. Most of them have worked in the House before, and so I've worked with them in one capacity or another. And I'm looking forward really to working with them. We've got some strong egos in the Senate. We got strong egos in the House, and it's going to be kind of fun just trying to figure out the dynamic of their personalities and relationships, because that's really what it's all about. Is just the communication. And if you don't want to burn bridges, you want to build them, and that's what I intend to do. I'll continue to do in the Senate.
Well, you're always very pure in your heart and your efforts towards your projects, especially your education, you know, your love and your passion. And so I think when it gets into maybe positioning and those things that we all fall into, and that will just carry you very well there. So what do you hope to accomplish there?
Well, I'm going to keep moving the ball forward with our early education efforts. I think that the Early Education Initiative has really moved things forward for children and families, frankly. It's a vulnerable time in a family's life when their kids are little, and you're scraping to make ends meet and trying to get sleep and all kinds of other things. And I think that if government can step in a proactive manner and offer resources to help parents be better at parenting and get their kids to the goal line of being ready for kindergarten, and I think that's vitally important, and I am going to go ahead and continue with that because I do think it's extremely important. We were at a community outreach meet. I can't remember the community council meeting in town, and I was fascinated that many of the responses that people gave for things that would help move things forward in our community and in our society, universal preschool came up quite often, and that's different than what it was 10 years ago.
Yes,
so it's interesting
you're right.
to see that change and see people kind of get behind that and realize and recognize how important it is for parents to be able to parent their own children. We'll have a lot less things that we have to react to in government as a result of that.
Time for one last quick question. You're getting ready for what will come next year. You're home now, regrouping. Sometimes after we've had a chance to reflect, how do you perceive the last session went? Now you've had a little breathing room to look back on it.
Well, always the sessions before elections are a little more contentious. And so my hope and expectation is that people will come back to this next session with not such a fighting attitude, and that we will all understand and recognize that we've had people that have put us there to get some good work done, especially in regards to education. And I think that's vitally important that we step up to that.
Maureen, thank you so
Thank
much.
you. Thanks
Appreciate
for
you
having
being
me. I
here.
appreciate it very much.
This is Maureen Walsh. I'm Dana Cowley. We're at the Port of Walla Walla, and you're watching Charter Local Edition Northwest.